I am Fridge. Welcome to Wixo episode 63. In the last episode, I told you about California's new technology that cleans nukes up faster, and we will continue seeing that play into effect as we see that over here some years have passed and all of the nukes in Korea have been cleaned up. Along with that, the nukes down here have also all been cleaned up. In here, some of the nukes have been cleaned up. There's still one over here, though. In Persia, they've cleaned up this nuke here, but they still have the other one over here. In Crete City, the cleanup is a bit more difficult since 3 nukes were dropped there. Over in Madagascar, the nukes down in this area here have been cleaned up, along with this one here. This nuke has been cleaned up in northern Madagascar, however these two are still here. Over here, more of the nukes have been cleaned up, mostly the ones down in this area. Also this major city, and a few other major cities. However, this one still has some work to do, as it did get a lot more dropped on it than some of the other countries. Another area that has a lot of nukes on it is over here, and they've cleaned up a few more, as they're getting the technology for free. They've cleaned up these ones along here. They still have some down here. However, even though they still have some nukes to clean up, they are going to be doing some other things. Those things include invading other countries, as they are going to send their military into this country here. They will go around where this nuke is, as they don't want to send people into radiation, and they will push over and capture this major city here, and then head up towards this major city here. They will also send troops in over here. They'll get right outside the capital, and the stupid HoloLens is too high. That's better. They will quickly push over towards the capital, though, and after some more fighting, they will take the capital, and eventually this country will lose. And in the peace treaty, it will be pretty simple. This country will be fully annexed, as we see the pink Iberian team expand. With this, we can remove the capital. Heading not too far, we see that we have Port and we have Yugo, and these two countries are going to go ahead and unite to form Portugal. I didn't even I've had this planned since someone told me, I think it was Omega who told me to call this one Port and this one Yugo. I could be wrong about it being Omega, but I think it was, who also told me to name Egg. But ever since these two got named Port and Yugo, I've had plans to have them unite. I just didn't know when, but now they're going to unite to form Portugal. And they will have their capital in the capital of Yugo, since Yugo, you might be surprised by this, but they're actually stronger than Port, as Port has been through a lot of losses. Meanwhile, Yugo has mostly stayed neutral. Well, actually, I think they've gotten involved in every world war, but other than World War III, they've won. I mean, Port won, I think, both World War I and World War II. However, after World War II, their colonies broke away, and then they had a civil war. So, Yugo is stronger, and the capital is the most populated city in this country, so they will keep the capital in the capital. Also, this is where the real life capital of Portugal is. Next up, heading over to Japan, where Japan is not the most stable country in the world. In fact, it's far from it. And up in the north, we're going to see a massive revolution. I'm on the wrong layer. We're going to see a massive revolution. You might recognize this color, and that's because this is the color of the old Japan that was here when it was originally united. But this area here, it completely breaks down to a civil war. And we see these areas here quickly push in and connect up, taking this major city as well. And they also take this island and the major city on it. And while the fascist government is losing quite a bit, they push down over here. And Japan sees that the fascist government is losing. And what do? Well, they're going to get involved. But not in the way you might be thinking, as they're actually going to just send troops in here and take the land for themselves as they push in here. And they'll take these islands here. They will then push up. And they'll push over here and take this major city, which I'm pretty sure was the original capital of Japan. They also push down here and take the capital of the fascist Japan. Meanwhile, these troops up here are also pushing down, taking this major city now, and pushing to over here. The rest of this will fall over to Japan, to Korea, and in the peace treaty, this area here will go over to Korea, while the rest is given independence as the new government of Japan. However, they do have the original capital and the fascist capital no longer part of Japan. So, yeah. That's a bit of a loss, but they did get most of the major cities. Anyway, so their capital will be going over here in this major city here, which is pretty far away from where their old capital was down here. But this country, they are not, even though they're the democracy color, while they are democratic, they aren't quite a democracy. They are actually going to be a democratic socialist country. I was on the wrong layer there. Let me find the correct layer. That's not what I wanted to do. That's the layer. Here we go. Wait, why did I don't mean to duplicate that. I only wanted one. Okay. Anyways, though, this country here is going to be a democratic socialist country. Speaking of that ideology, over here, the new Turkey country is also a democratic socialist country. And obviously this country is, and this country down here. However, this ideology is actually going to spread, as it's going to spread over to this country here, who is also going to become one. So this ideology is spreading. Meanwhile, communism is mostly dead. I think that this country over here is the last communist country in the world, and that's just because I forgot they were communist. Also, they're still a dictatorship. Same thing with this country, which got released. I think a few other previous countries are still dictatorships. Also, this country here, while they are currently a flawed democracy, they're going to go fascist. That's because they were only a flawed democracy because they couldn't be fascist, but now they can because, well, the Nordic Union no longer exists. Speaking of which, up here, they're mostly flawed democracies. This one over here is a full democracy, though, because Finland is just cool like that. I don't know why I made them that. I just did. Also, most of the monarchs are dead. There's like, I think that this country here, and maybe another country that I'm forgetting about are like the only like 4 monarchs left, and then there's a few. Actually, you're not one anymore. You're democratic now because you had that. You're a flawed democracy now because you had that civil war. But there's a few constitutional monarchies left, like these 2 countries up here, and a few in Africa, and that might be it. Oh, there's these ones over here, and these ones over here don't have ideologies, but that's because they won't exist soon, as we're going to see this brown one here. Close the ideology layer because I don't really need it anymore. This brown country here is going to get invaded by the blue country here, who will push in, take the capital, and within just a few days have this brown country completely taken, and it will get Folia next. Meanwhile, in the north, the pink country is going to go ahead and invade this country here. They will take the capital pretty quickly, and this country will last longer than the blue country, but after these major cities are taken, they will fall, and they will also be Folia next. No, not you. Just you. No, stop trying to become part of it. Instead, you're going to get invaded by the brown country over here, who will push in and take the capital, and then push down, and completely capture this country. And with that, same thing as the last few. Full annexation. So now those countries are all gone. And also I've been asked to fix the borders of this country here, this red one here, and if I say no, this country will always have ugly borders. There's no fixing it. This country, the reason why this country exists is so anytime that a country has bad borders, they can just look up at this country, be like, hey, actually, I don't even think this country has that bad borders. Like, maybe up here is what was being asked, but like, compared to some other countries that either all on this map or have been on this map, I don't even think that this country's borders are even that bad compared to some other. Anyways, though, I need to remove these capital cities now. So, say goodbye to the capital cities. No more capital cities. Well, there's still a capital city over here, but this country still exists. These countries up here no longer exist. So I don't need capital cities. You know who does need a capital city, though? You over here. Because I keep on forgetting to give you one. So let's just fix that. Anyways, though, now we can get on to the next event, which will be over here. And what will this event be? Well, Toscana. They recently got independence. However, some things are happening, and there is a disagreement between a lot of the people in this country. And in the city of Benito, we're going to see a revolution break out. And it will start here, but it will quickly get close along later. But it will quickly push over here and fall into these major cities here. And well, while it's taken 3 major cities, the main government, which is in the capital, which is named Altsen, they are going to start to push in. They're going to send the military into here, and they will disconnect this major city from over here. However, up in the north, we're going to see these provinces up here go ahead and join up, and in fact they reach all the way down here, and the people will quickly push back out and then push into Italy. And what they want to do is they want to push. This revolution is actually a fascist revolution, and they're being supplied by a country that is on this map. I'm not going to name which one. However, I will say it's the same country that originally funded the revolution that happened during World War III, that of Toscana rebelling from Rome. However, they will push towards the capital, and they are already outside the capital. This revolution is strong, and we see more and more areas start to join up with it. In fact, we see the last major city in this country other than the capital join up with it. Along with that, these provinces here join up with it. And in fact, soon the entirety of the north has joined up with it. And they'll push into the capital city and take it, following which the old government will fall, and the new government has won the Civil War. There we go. And they're going to move the capital from the city of Voltsin. What's the capital city layer? They're going to move the capital from the city of Voltsin to the city of Benito. Also, Benito, if you're watching this, I told you about this event happening like months ago. And here it is. Anyways, though. Following that, this country will need to do some rebuilding, but there'll also be increase in the military. Also, going to the ideology layer. Like I said, this revolution was fascist. However, they're not going to join up with the other fascist countries in their alliance. Speaking of their alliance, some things are happening in it. Specifically, in Balaka, or Great Sri Lanka. Also, yes, this is Sri Lanka. As you can see, their capital is in Sri Lanka, not India. I don't want to hear anyone calling this India. Anyways, though. Where was I? Oh yeah, things are happening with this country in the Cross Alliance. And that thing that is happening involves nukes. So this country, they don't want to keep on using Korea's nukes, speaking of which, this number should actually be 156 and 40 as the nukes in the fascist Greece were taken. However, actually, no, it shouldn't, because it actually made more nukes, and they're actually at 200 nukes with 40 in other countries. However, it's going to become 30 in other countries, as we're going to see India, or as we're going to see Sri Lanka return these nukes, or Balka. Balka's the canon name. And they've actually been given information. Oh, actually, no. They're also going to go ahead and leave the Cross Alliance. And this was because of a deal that they made with another country. That country being, I have no idea which country that was, but they've been given the information on how to make nukes from that country. So, they're going to start developing their nukes. So, for now, they have developed one nuke. However, that's probably going to change in the future. And also up here, let's fix you. So, this country now has 200 nukes, with 30 in other countries. Those countries being you down here, and I think you up here. However, let's just say that number's about to change, as we're going to see, while they're going to stay in the alliance, Wales will be returning their nukes, and that's because they have been developing more of their own nukes, and they're actually at 25 of their own nukes now. They got nukes. They store the nukes that were in Brittany, and they have developed more nukes since then. So with that, this country is now at 200, and we're actually going to say they have 20 in other countries. I know that 2 is not even. I will fix that. That's better. Now it's even with the 0, or more even. as they're going to put another 5 into this country down here. So this country is now at 20. No, 20. Anyways, though. Yeah, that's happening. Anyways, what's happening in the rest of the world, you might be wondering. Well, let's close the nukes and alliance layers. What is the alliance layer? Well, in the rest of the world, heading over to here, we're going to see a few countries that have not done anything since they got their independence do something, that being this Michigan country over here, and this country here. And we're actually going to see Michigan invade into this country here. Now, Michigan is a flawed democracy, and they're going to push into this country here. And they're going to quickly get towards the capital. They're also pushing over here and capture this major city. Also, I'm pretty sure there's a major city here that has a name. What is the city name layer? Or, no, it's over here. We have Silva over here, which is supposed to be the capital of this country, but I never gave this country a capital. The capital is Silva, though, so remember that. But this country will also push down over here and take this major city here. And Michigan is doing this because they are scared of Florida, and they want to be stronger. That way, they won't have to worry about Florida invading them. So they will completely surround the capital and eventually take it. And they will also start pushing along here, pushing towards this major city here, and capturing it. Along with that, they'll push up over here to capture this major city. And in what is known as the battles of whichever lake this is. I know this one's like Michigan, and this one over here is, I'm pretty sure, like Erie. But I don't know what this one or this one is named. But anyways, Michigan wins those battles, and in fact, the war is going to be named the War of this Lake. There will be some fighting that is not involved in that lake, though. And that is over here in Minnesota. I think that's Minnesota. I know Minnesota's there. Actually, that's mostly Wisconsin. Minnesota's up here. Okay, well, there is some fighting in Minnesota. And eventually, all of Minnesota and Wisconsin are taken, following which this country will go ahead and surrender. So we can see a peace treaty, if I can get far enough back. And in this peace treaty, Michigan is going to take a good chunk of land from this country here, as they take all of, actually, I'm going to make this arrow a bit, all of this land here, now completely surrounding the Great Lakes. Well, actually, there's still some land over here that they don't have. But let me fix this over here. So here we have the new borders, and this country's wanting to move their capital, so move it they will. And they will move it to this major city over here. The final event happening in this episode will be a pretty short one, and that is over here. We're going to see Sinai and Egypt unite. This area here this part of Egypt used to be part of Sinai, and it will now reunite with Sinai. And capital-wise, we can erase that. Alliance-wise, this country is going to stay in this country is going to join the Gear Alliance, because, well, they're scared of of their neighbor to the north, who is kind of busy cleaning up this site now. So yeah, don't really have to deal with that. But that's where this episode's going to end. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.